everyone. My name is Erin Rouse. Today, I'm going to present on group conflict. Everyone has had to work in a group before, whether it is a work group, a school group, a social group, or just maybe a group of friends. We've all been in a group. The thing about being in a group is that there are many people with many attitudes, many backgrounds, many situations that they may face before they even get to your group. With this, there's a lot of conflict. Many people bring many conflicts. So, before we get into group conflict, let's talk about how groups are formed. Typically, there are four main types of groups. There's a companionship, a behavior guidelines group, problem solving group, and even a protection group. A companion group is typically your average group of friends. A lot of times we go to this group of friends because they give us that sense of belonging. They are there to help you with your problems. Whatever it is you face, your friends typically are there to help you. So we have friends in the workplace, we have friends outside, whatever, you have a group of friends. With my group of friends, they are always there when I need them. When I've had a stressful day, they just make me feel better. So that's why I tend to keep them around because they're my group of friends. You have a behavior guidelines group. Typically, this is within a workplace. With mine, when I first started working at my job, I did not know a lot of the rules. I didn't know who was the head honcho, who not to cross wrong. So I would go to a particular person to ask about certain situations I may be facing to make sure everything was okay. And they would kind of help and guide me along the way to let me know the do's and the don'ts within the organization. And then you have problem solving groups. A lot of times this is done within like maybe your job. If you work in a workplace to where you have to resolve things, maybe they may put a group together to help get a situation done in a faster manner, or maybe just because it needs different versatility with it to get the problem solved together. And then finally, you have a protection group. Your protection group is to kind of help you maybe from situations hindering you or a supervisor or anything. A protection group is there to help you. When I first heard this, I was like, oh, that's a gang. But there's more than just a gang. It is there to help block situations that may hinder you in some shape, form, or fashion. So now let's talk about group conflict. Group conflict is a hostile situation that takes place within a group. Typically, you have two types of group conflict. One is an intro group and one is an outro group. So the intergroup conflict is two separate groups that may fight against one another. So for an example with that one, I'm going to use basketball teams. Let's say the Lakers play the Cavaliers. You have two separate groups, but they playing against each other for a goal to win the game. So, or when I was in high school, we had our rivalry team. So we were two separate groups and we had conflict with one another because we wanted to win. And then you have an intra-group, which is actually a conflict within the group. So let's say you have a basketball team again, and maybe two of the players are actually arguing against one another. So that would be a conflict within that one single group. Now we're going to move into resolving conflict. This is where things get a little different. So here I have a picture of a group, and basically what they're doing is trying to resolve a conflict within a group. And resolving a conflict can come in many different ways and forms, but you have three main steps. And the first step is preparing for a resolution. So that's kind of like what this picture is. They're kind of preparing for a resolution. We're trying to get along. The first step in preparing for a resolution would be to acknowledge the problem or the conflict. you can't move forward unless you realize what the problem is. Just like if you have an addiction and you go to an AA meeting or anything of that sort, you get in there and you say, "Hi, my name is Erin. I have a problem. I am a shopaholic. I am this, I am that." But the first step is to admit that you have a problem. So even with resolving the conflict, the first thing you want to do is to realize what the problem is. You can have a healthy debate to find the issue of the problem, but you actually want to get to the root of the problem. Next, you want to discuss the impact that the conflict had on the group. A lot of times people don't realize how much time and anger that they put into a conflict or argument with someone, and what they could have been, and what they could have done in that time that they spent arguing or having a conflict of any sort that could have been avoided anyway. And then next you want to agree to get along with one another. You want to put your personal feelings aside and kind of realize that, hey, we're here for a common goal, and that goal is to finish this project or whatever it is you have to do together. But you have to put your feelings aside, take personal stuff away, and realize you're here to equally for the same goal at hand. And then you want to agree to communicate with one another. And that's kind of the process of preparing to resolve a conflict. So, next, we want to understand the situation. Everybody has a role for whatever it is if it's a group project or if it's a friendship, everyone has a role, and you kind of know what you are. Like in my group of friends, I am the outgoing one. I'm a lot of times the listener. I am the one a lot of people go to. So I know what my role is. So everybody has to know their role so we can all come in here and fit equally and get the goal resolved. Then you kind of want to lay the facts out. And these facts can be the steps to get you where you need to go. And sometimes it's even better to break up into smaller groups, and so that these smaller groups can actually get a lot of things done in a better hand, because we all know groups work together the smaller they are. And then finally, you want to reach an agreement, and everybody can come back together to resolve whatever the issues were. And finally, we want to prevent this from happening again. So in order to prevent this, I use a picture of a pencil erasing away conflict. We want to realize that we don't need this to happen in the future. So by acknowledging it and hopefully avoiding the situation, we need to fix it so it doesn't happen again in the future. So as I presented, this is my presentation on group conflict. Thank you.